Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to Primetime Carolina. We are coming to you after week one, where the Carolina Panthers unfortunately came out on the losing end, 26-24, live at Bank of America Stadium. Both of us were there. The bank was rocking, but the field, well, the play on the field, maybe not so much. Panthers make it close there at the end, almost come away with a come behind victory, but not enough. Last second field goal takes that away. And Dave, starting the season 0-1, your thoughts on yesterday, your general reception, what were your thoughts about the game yesterday?
Well, first of all, let me say I'm excited to talk about our most common topic, the Panthers losing. That's exciting. Good to be back. It feels good to be nice and settled in. Feels good to be right back in our comfort zone talking about losses.
I love it.
But man, it's exactly what we thought it was going to be going into the game.
Yeah.
The two big things we talked about was the Panthers' ability to stop the run game and the Panthers' ability to block these pass rushers. And they weren't able to do enough of either of those things to get this win. So, we knew what they needed to do to pull it out, and ultimately they just couldn't do it. And, it took them, 2.5 quarters to finally start playing some damn football, especially on the offensive side of the ball. So, or really specifically on the offensive side of the ball. And by the time the offense got it cranked into gear, it was like the defense couldn't do anything to stop anybody. So it was just, it just was not complimentary, good winning football. And that seems to be the theme over the Matt Rule era. It's like they can be in every game, but they just can't find a way to win it when it matters. And a lot of head scratching decisions when, you get into crunch time.
So, I mean, I pretty much agree with everything you just said. I've really broken this game, or what I want to talk about, into three main points. Before I get into those points, I will say that being at the stadium yesterday was a lot of fun. I know we came out on the losing end. However, the vibe was pretty good for the most part. It was really loud. I felt like it was, I feel like, stadium music gets pretty loud, but I feel like that might be the loudest I've heard it in a long time. But I'll kind of get into that a little bit later on. But my first main point that I want to make here is that I said this in the section that I was sitting in with the people I was with and the people that were near me. And Matt Rule, I don't know the exact quote that he said in the press conference after the game. I just have a general idea. He said something along the lines of, I don't think they had enough time to get on there and kick a field goal. If he's watched any NFL football for the past 2-3 years, you would understand that 30 seconds is enough time for someone to get down to midfield to kick a field goal. Or if you ask Patrick Mahomes, all he needs is 13 seconds. You gave this Browns offense, no matter, they had a backup quarterback, it doesn't matter if they drove the ball all day. You gave them, a minute and 13 seconds to drive to midfield just for a field goal opportunity. You have to play for the touchdown there. I know we talked about this a little bit earlier. I know a field goal is, it takes the lead, but you have to play for the touchdown. As soon as we played for the field goal, at no point did I say, oh, we're going to win this game. I knew the Browns were going to at least get down there for a chance to kick the field goal. You cannot give an NFL offense, I don't care which offense it is, any time to get down the field. You have to at least attempt for a touchdown. I know on the 1st and 10, the snap was botched. Second down, they ran the ball. Third down, they ran the ball. The play calling there was horrid, way too conservative. You have to at least, on third down, at least opportunity. They could have picked up a first down and iced the game. They didn't even have to score a touchdown. They would have ran out of time. They didn't do that. They played it safe, went for the field goal. Matt Rule, you lose again.
You know what, Tanner? I'm so torn on this because in most situations, I would agree with you 100% on that. And for whatever reason in this game, I felt comfortable with what the Panthers did. And I know I'm in the minority with that. I totally get why people disagree with me on that. But the reason I felt comfortable with it is because the offense was struggling so much during portions of this game where to the point, and you just said it, on first down, they fumbled the snap. The ball, I think, hit the ground like 5 times just on snaps alone in this game. And because of that, I just felt like, man, you know what? We don't need to risk doing anything with this football. Let's run it a couple times, and then we should be able to rely on our defense to stop Jacoby Brissett from going down the field and scoring. You would think, especially when Matt Rule himself talked about this defense making that jump from good to great. But man, this defense has a long way to go. And for another year in a row, it looks like they were way overhyped in the beginning of the season. And, we talked about it. I talked about it a lot because I didn't hear a lot of people talking about it, but I knew it was going to be an issue. This front seven is just not it. They're just not that good, especially in the linebacking core. I never saw it on paper. I know they brought in some guys, and I was glad that they did, but at the same time, I knew they weren't difference makers. So I knew it was going to be an issue, but like I said, the offense was just so reckless with the ball. And I mean, I can't even say the offense. It was really just the center and the quarterback had so many struggles with just snapping the ball. I was like, man, if anything can go wrong, it's going to go wrong right here. So we might as well just play it safe, make them use their timeouts and kick it. But, I mean, at the end of the day, I hate to bring it up, but the Panthers did get screwed twice on the last drive. I don't like to make that. It's kind of an excuse, but at the same time, it is completely true in this situation. So, I mean, I totally get it. I totally get where you're coming from. You need to go for the win right there. And, if you're going to be a good NFL team, those are the type of things you need to do. But at the same time, we had such a rough day on offense for most of the day that I was like, man, if anything can go wrong, it will go wrong right here. So that's why I was comfortable with it. I felt like our defense, I felt like if they needed to get a stop to end the game, they would do it. And they just didn't. And honestly, I mean, that disappoints me even more than them not trying to score a touchdown right there, is that our defense couldn't step up in that situation against a backup quarterback at home.
So I agree with what you're saying regarding the settling for the field goal. I think you bring up a good point in terms of our offense pretty much struggling for most of the game until the late third, all the fourth quarter. So I do see your point there. It just I just get frustrated because I mean, how many times have you watched a game in the past couple of years where you've seen an offense get down the field with almost no time? It happens like clockwork. It's almost like it was a given. It's just at the point now where the league is so shifted towards offense, you cannot give them any time. I can understand if, we make the field goal, they have to score a touchdown to tie. Okay, that makes it a lot more difficult. But a field goal to just win the game, I don't know, man. I feel bad giving them all that time, but I do agree with your point there. Like you said about the offense struggling. My second point that I wanted to bring up is you pretty much just touched on it there. This defense, man, holy shit. This defense will make you want to rip your hair out. That's
why I shave mine, Tanner.
Exactly. That's probably what I should do too. That way I don't.
From being a Panthers fan.
Listen, it's not rocket science what the Browns are trying to do. They were going to run the football, try to take care of the game, play good defense. All the Panthers had to do was put together some sort of game plan to try to minimize that running game. You're not going to stop Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt completely, not with the defense we have at least, but you can try to do things to slow them down and mitigate that. The Panthers had one job on defense, stop the run. They got walked dry yesterday. They were running everywhere on the field. I mean, it's just, we have no one that can set the tone on defense, especially on the edge, that can set the edge to stop the run. Brian Burns, he's a great pass rushing specialist. We know he struggles in run defense. He was the best run defender we had yesterday. That's not good because he's probably the lightest guy on that front seven. Gross Matos, a second round pick. I understand he's not a star player. That's a high round pick for a guy that specializes in stopping the run. Where was he? Nowhere. Derek Brown, I predicted him to have a bounce back season. I'm almost going to eat my words after 1 week because he's non-existent. He's just there. No one on the front seven, maybe other than Shaq, was in there making a couple plays. Frankie Louvu, as much as I love him, he made a play here or there, but damn, did he miss a lot of tackles. So much missed tackling. All the Panthers had to do was just mitigate the run game and just wrap up and tackle. You cannot arm tackle Nick Chubb. They didn't do that, and they ran all over the Panthers. And we've seen this for the past, I feel like since like Luke Kuechly, the year he retired, like 2018, the run defense has been bad for a long time. And I don't know if it's a coaching thing, it's a personnel thing. I don't know. I don't understand.
Yeah, I think it's a little of both. And we talked about it before. This defense is really built uh as a finesse unit. You know what I mean? They're built to get to the outside, stop more spread type of offenses, kind of like what the Arizona Cardinals do on offense. That's more of what our defense is built to stop. And usually when we play the Arizona Cardinals, we match up really well because we have the speed to keep up with them. We can get, outside and stop their outside runs. But when you play a team with the power that the Cleveland Browns have, with a thick running back like the Cleveland Browns have, who's going to break these arm tackles, run over guys. I mean, it's kind of just what the Panthers have decided they're going to live by on defense, I guess. But honestly, I can almost forgive that, not because it was okay, but because I expected it. What I didn't expect was for our secondary to struggle so badly against a backup quarterback and not bad receivers, but they're not the best you're going to face for sure.
Correct.
JC Horn, I mean, it was his first game back in, almost a whole year, but he had a rough day. Dante Jackson had a rough day. You look at how many times the Panthers shot themselves in the foot, how many times that defense and especially that back end just didn't answer the bell. The Browns' first touchdown. What happens? Stupid penalty by CJ Henderson. The ball's getting intercepted. He doesn't look for the football, just tackles. I think it was Amari Cooper was the receiver. I don't remember.
Yeah.
So that knocks that off the board. That took the ball away from us, gave them a touchdown. Then you look at the next drive. Was it the next drive? Yeah. The Panthers had them on I don't know if it was the next drive, but the next scoring drive. The Panthers had them backed up. I think it was after like a penalty and tackle in the backfield. It was 2nd and 19. 2 completions in a row right at Dante Jackson, gets them a first down. They turn a 2nd and 19 into a first down. They went on to score on that drive as well. The next time they scored, ball's kicked out of bounds. The Panthers get them off of that penalty. The ball's already at the 45, obviously. The Panthers get them pinned back in a 3rd and long. They convert that 3rd and long. They score on that drive. And I think that's leaving out one scoring drive. And I didn't have that one written down what happened on that drive, but I think there was another 3rd and long on that drive too. So at the end of the day, it was like we were in situations to win this game, but at the end of the day, we were in positions where we had them against their back against the wall, and they still found ways to convert and go score touchdowns. So I mean, that's just you just can't do that and expect to win. And ultimately, that's going to fall on the coach, and he's getting a lot of blame for this game. And I mean, he really should. He really should.
Yeah, I mean, I agree with everything you just said. It's become a little bit of a running joke with me and my dad whenever we watch a game. If the opposing team is ever in like 3rd and forever, I said, okay, they've got us right where they want us, because they almost always convert. 3rd and 15, 3rd and 20, it could be 3rd and 45. They are going to get that first down. The Panthers defense, for whatever reason, they cannot stop teams on 3rd down. They had a couple stops here and there, but like you said, man, the amount of draft picks they spent on this defense and the amount of attention that it's got, 3 years ago, our whole draft was all defensive players. Mm-hmm. And that's all you can muster. Absolutely pathetic. And it just burns me up, not because I don't like these guys. I mean, I love this team. I love the players. It just burns me up because, yeah, the talent is there, it seems like, but at the same time, you just see the same things. I mean, what we just saw all last season getting walked over basically was what we saw yesterday. And I think that's going to be the thing for things to come. We got the Giants coming up next week. Saquon Barkley, he had a damn good game. He had over 150 rushing yards. He's probably going to do somewhat close to the same thing unless the Panthers do not make some adjustments, some changes, or whatever they need to do. I don't see that theme stopping all year. The Panthers are going to get run on all year.
Yeah, I mean, that kind of brings up a good point that I came across this tweet from John Ellis. Great Panthers coverage, One Panther Place on Twitter for anyone who doesn't follow him. But our next 8 opponents, 238 yards. I don't know that I saw that, and that had to be a typo, but I guess not. 238 yards for the Giants, 151 for the Saints, 103 for the Cardinals, San Francisco 176. The Rams have 52, but they don't really try to run the ball. Tampa Bay 155, apparently in the fourth quarter. Atlanta 207, Cincinnati 133. That's all the rushing totals for our next eight opponents, man. I mean,
That's
and
not good.
we showed that we cannot stop the run, so it doesn't look like that trend's going to be ending anytime soon.
I want to bring up a quick point. I don't mean to cut you off. I just want to say this before I forget.
No,
I was
ahead.
watching the C3 Panthers podcast. I think on the way back from Charlotte this morning. They do a pretty good show on YouTube. I was watching their show, and they brought up, I think it was a week or ago or pretty recently, Phil Snow said to the reporters, he was asked about the run defense. He's like, I'm really tired of people saying about my run defense, how it's not that good. We were 9th in the league last year.
Yeah, I saw that.
Perfect example served on a golden platter in front of everyone to watch yesterday. Your defense might have been statistically ranked 9th against the run, but that does not paint the whole story. That run defense was terrible.
Yeah, they were awful last year, especially, in the second half of the year when we couldn't win any games. I mean, it looked a lot like this every game.
Every game.
Couldn't stop the run, couldn't get off the field on third down, and that's a lot of what we saw in this game. So, I mean, it doesn't look like much has changed since last season, Phil Snow. And, I respect the hell out of the guy. Obviously, he's a well-established coach who's been doing it for a million years. But at the end of the day, I haven't seen him do anything on an NFL level. He's a great Big 12, defensive coordinator, I guess, but it ain't working in the NFL. And I don't really have any reason to think it's going to.
This is the Big 32, not the Big 12. So,
yeah, I mean, for real, it's like, at some point you can only show promise for so long before it's like, dude, you got to start producing on the field. I mean, the thing that's so frustrating is because in Matt Rule's first year, it felt like we were building towards something. Correct. And then when it finally got to the point where it's like, all right, it's time to start winning these games, we never took the next step, and we've just been waiting to take the next step. And here we are, man. We're in year 3 now. In Ron Rivera's third year, he took the team to the divisional round of the playoffs, a 12-4 record.
Yeah. And it was like his third year. I mean, we started out 1-3, and it was like, I remember that game against the Giants at home, whenever we had like 7 sacks or whatever. I remember Jerry Richardson came on the field that day, and they were like, holy shit, Jerry Richardson never comes on the field. Like, Ron Rivera's got to win this game to keep his job. I feel like if we do not win this next game, we could very well see that against the Giants. But at the same time, with Ron, he was a player and he was a coach in the NFL previously. He's been an established coach. With Matt Rule, I feel like that wouldn't really work. I feel like he wouldn't care. He would say, okay, no big deal. I got the biggest guaranteed contract in the NFL, coach-wise. I'll just go back to Nebraska or whatever job just opened up.
Yeah. He's on record telling his team to their face, I could have any college job I want. I mean,
this is true. He did say that.
If you're saying stuff like that, you must it must be in the back of your mind somewhere. You know what I mean? Like, you're not just saying it to say it. And it's like, at some point, it's just like, bro, just go. Like, you're not good at this. And yeah, I mean, I thought about it too, man. I don't know if 0-2 gets him fired, but I think 0-3 definitely gets him fired, because he was almost gone this offseason. He found a way to keep his job somehow. But, I mean, Tepper's losing patience, and that's obvious. That's been obvious. He's not a patient person to begin with. But when he hired Rule, he talked about giving him time to build and yada, yada, yada. And then Matt Rule started talking about Jay-Z's 7 years and whatever the hell else he's talking about. Dude, 3 years in the NFL is, most guys don't even get that much time. You got to start winning. You got to start winning.
We were okay with the first year. The second year, we needed to see some progress. And we thought we were at the beginning, and then that just jumped off fell off a cliff. By year 3, like of if you're doing a successful rebuild, you should be competing. It generally doesn't take a long time for a successful rebuild to happen. I would say 3 years. The third year, you should be competing and be there.
Right. And this is year 3. I mean, honestly, if I'm the owner, I might give him the whole year to prove himself, to see what he can do. But this is it, man. If he does not at least get close to a playoff run this year, he's done. No doubt about it. I think we kind of went off on a tangent here. There was one other point about this game I wanted to make that I just remembered. Christian McCaffrey had 10 carries in this game. 10 carries in this game. You look at this game on the surface, and the two things you think are, we need to stay committed to the run game, and we need to help out our rookie left tackle. We didn't do either one of those things on offense. As a matter of fact, it felt like we were trying to throw the ball as much as we could, but even that felt like it didn't have a plan. Before the game, I said the Panthers needed to commit to the run game and set up some easy passes so Baker Mayfield could get comfortable. They didn't commit to the run game at all. I'll give them some credit. Strategically, they tried to set up some easy passes, but there was no rhythm to anything they were doing. They were trying to run all kinds of play action passes, screen passes, swing passes, things they hadn't set up in any way with what they were doing, but kept doing them over and over again like they were going to work. You cannot run play action passes when your star running back has 5 carries in the first half. No one's worried about the run game if you don't commit to it. And then Ikemu Kwanu is at his best when he's run blocking. We set him up by himself on the backside against one of the best defensive ends in the game to throw the ball. How many times did we throw the ball? Baker threw the ball 27 times.
Felt like more than that.
Well, he threw it 27 times, but that's not counting all the times he dropped back and got sacked or fumbled the ball, or, I don't know whatever else could happen. All the bad stuff that happened. But McCaffrey, 10 carries. Are you kidding me? 10 carries. To win this game, you had to run the ball and set up some easy throws, and you didn't do either one of those things. You set up your rookie tackle to fail. He allowed, I think, 2 sacks. And now he's moving forward like, wow, I don't know if I can play in this league. People are talking about him playing guard already. It's been one game. I did not understand anything they did on offense. It just seemed like everything that was so obvious, they did the opposite, and it completely blew up in their face as everyone would have expected it to.
You think maybe it was one of those, hey, what we're going to do is so obvious, let's do the opposite?
I feel like nobody is stupid enough to think that would work in the NFL except for Matt Rule. But, I don't know. What's up? I'm at a loss for words because we bring in this new offensive coordinator. He's supposed to know what he's doing. And it's just the same thing. It's the same thing. Last year, Matt Rule talked about, we have to commit to running the ball. We have to commit to running the ball.
Correct.
And then he turned around and we run the ball 10 times. And it is the same thing in week 1 in 2022. So it's like, bro, is anything going to change? Or are we just going to talk about it for 2 years straight?
Well, it's been a whole lot of talk about a lot of stuff, but not a whole lot of it happening. But I will say this, the silver lining, the first half of offense was absolutely terrible, which we discussed. I mean, watching it, you kind of unfold on the field it almost was like we were in a dream. Like, okay, I just kept looking around and I was like, okay, like they're going to start playing eventually, right? Yeah. Okay. It's the first drive and it's the second drive. It's the third drive. And you're like, by the quarter and a half, I mean, there were boos coming down. People were like, dude, take Baker out. I was like,
yeah,
that was quick.
Yeah. I will say this, not to give them any excuses, but again, this is kind of goes back to what are you doing, Matt Rule? But we didn't trade for Baker until mad late. We had that quarterback competition, which took half the reps for half of the preseason or half of camp that he would have normally had. So he's already behind twice there. It's a new offense anyway for everybody involved. I mean, these guys have really only been playing together as a unit for a couple of weeks in practice. I mean, this was almost like a preseason game.
Yeah.
Their first time really playing together. Even the preseason game where Baker played, a lot of the receivers didn't play. Robbie Anderson, Christian McCaffrey, DJ Moore, none of those guys played in that game. So this was really the first time any of these guys were on the field, all together. So it took them 2.5 quarters to get their shit together because they haven't even played together yet.
That's a great example that you brought up. And you mentioned that about Baker. I would even mention that with, like you said, Ekwonu, because we had this whole fake competition that, hey, we drafted a left tackle at number 6, but he's in the competition for the left tackle spot. Are you kidding me?
Yeah, absolutely.
You're trying to save your job and win the game and win games this season. If I'm the coach, if I'm even to have an ounce of brain, I would say, you know what? I should probably play my best players and practice them the most so they can get the most reps and get all the practice they need for week 1. What do? We mess around. Listen, I like Brady Christensen. I think he's a fine left tackle. I like having him at left guard. And at the same time, we've had questions about should Ekwonu be a tackle or a guard? Well, you know what? Whatever decision you're going to make, just freaking make it and go. If you want to play Christensen at tackle and put Ekwonu at guard and let him learn, okay, fine. Do it. Pick something and stick to it. But no, we had this whole fake competition going on, which was nothing but a waste of time. Same thing with Baker Mayfield and Sam Darnold. You don't trade for Baker Mayfield to make him the backup quarterback. He is the starter. You come out day 1 and you say that. Sam Darnold had his chance last year. He blew it. So guess what? You get to sit on the bench. Just terrible decision, just awful decision making. This game was just, you just look at it, and as bad as we played in most of the game, there were certain situations where if we would have been better coached, put in better positions, we could have won this game. We could have stole it, and we still could have done that without it.
It's just such a bad look for us to spend so much time in the preseason and in training camp doing so many different things with so many different guys at so many different positions, and then getting out there week 1 and looking totally unprepared. I mean,
exactly.
You did it to yourself, And I mean, if you can't, I don't know. The Browns are a good team, but at the end of the day, there were a lot of question marks by the time this game was over. Even things you thought would go better. The Browns, I didn't think the Browns did a great job with their strategy on offense either. They threw the ball way too much. They should have ran the ball in every damn play. We couldn't stop it. But yet they kept dropping back with Jacoby Brissett. And if they were going to keep dropping back with Jacoby Brissett, I would say, great, let's go get after him. He had all day to throw. All day, every time. Standing back there for, it had to be 5 seconds on some plays.
Yeah.
So,
it was frustrating. And that CJ Henderson pass interference call, that was actually right in the corner where I was standing or sitting. And just watching it happen like live in front of you was like,
yeah.
It was just like Xavier. I almost forgot Xavier Woods picked off the ball, and everybody was cheering. I was like, did no one just see him just fucking tackle that guy? And so,
right. Stop getting excited, everybody.
I know. I was like, it's coming back, and they're going to score the 1 yard line, and they did.
Yeah, it was tough. It's a tough game.
So there was some, a lot more questions than answers. I will say this though, the second half was I know Ben McAdoo the first half. I don't know, what he was doing the night before, where he was partying at. He must have still been hungover the first half. But the second half, I will give him credit, him and Baker, and pretty much the whole offense. It was the first time I've ever seen the Panthers go in and make adjustments and come out and execute. Because the second half, that was a masterclass of what our offense could be. McCaffrey running the ball, getting the screen game involved, taking some deep shots, working that middle of the field with DJ Moore. Even Shi Smith had a grab here or there. I mean, the second half, I mean, I was very, very impressed. I know I hate to be the glass half full guy because no one likes taking good things out of a loss. But that second half was masterful on offense, and I enjoyed it. And it was like, okay, this is what we came to see. Now, if the Panthers could just try to do that and control that for the rest of the season, I think our offense can be in pretty good shape.
Yeah, I mean, I'm glad you said that. We've kind of been ranting, but I wanted to try to keep that positive attitude about this game going as we talked about it. Oh man, we got a highlight. I wanted to keep that positive attitude as we talked about this game because I feel like it's been 1 week and everyone's already acting like the sky is falling. So I was trying not to give into that. But man, it's so hard to talk about this game and not do that because
you got to get out all the bad stuff before you get to the good.
Yeah. So, but I'll tell you what, thinking about that list we just looked at over the next 8 weeks of the rushing attacks we're going to have to face is pretty discouraging because that's just not our forte when it comes to stopping the run.
It's not. So we're going to have to do a better job of that. Couple other points I want to make about the game, and like you said, I want to get some positive in there. My last real negative I will say is people talk about penalties and the refs. I'm in the middle on that. I'm also on the side of you should have done a better job to put yourself in a winning position where penalties don't really affect you. But there is also a point to be made where, oh my God, the Panthers were just and don't get me wrong, that roughing the passer call on Baker that the Browns had thrown on them, that was a terrible call. And there were a bunch of terrible calls in this game. But the two calls that we had, the one with the roughing the passer and then the fake grounding spike, whatever it was, pick up the flag, that was unheard of. And I want to mention this one last, the chop block against Xavier Woods. Are you kidding me?
Right. I've never seen that in my life.
There was two calls in that game, that and the fake spike call. I've never seen called in a game before. Never. And they brought him out for this game. And yeah, I hate to be that guy, but I have to mention it. I mean, it was bad. The Panthers easily could have won this game without that. I think without the 15-yard rush in the passer call, that puts them back 15 yards. I think the Panthers come away with a victory there. They could have done a lot of stuff better. Don't get me wrong. But there were some calls in this game I had never seen called before. And I was kind of blown away.
Yeah, the roughing the passer was just, it was so, I mean, I guess his arm did touch his head, but all the contact was made when his own man was ran back into him. So that call was just really, really stupid, honestly. And especially at that point in the game where it's like, dude, the game's on the line and you're going to call the most tic-tacky roughing the passer you could possibly call.
I could see if he just slung him to the ground and it was pretty egregious, I'd be like, Burns, you're an idiot. Why'd you do that? But that didn't happen.
Yeah, it was ridiculous. And then, yeah, the fake spike thing. Here's the thing. Oh, excuse me. Here's the thing. The rule is if he fakes the spike and then spikes it, it's a penalty or it's intentional grounding.
Correct.
Then the ref picks up the flag and says the quarterback faked the spike and then spiked it. There's no penalty on the play. You just said what the penalty was and then said it wasn't a penalty. You just said he did exactly what the penalty is. And then you said it's not a penalty and you picked up the flag. So
it blew my mind. I agree.
If they call either one of those flags, then, or if they get either one of those calls right, then the Panthers probably win that game. Instead, both win against the Panthers. And there were people, when talking about after the game, saying, like you said, that passer or that intent, what was it? Roughing the passer against the Browns was horrible. It's like, bro, that was in the first quarter. There's a big difference between a bad call in the first quarter and the last drive with the game on the line. Not to
Correct.
mention, we didn't even do anything with the ball after that penalty. We immediately punted 3 plays later, so it's not like it mattered.
Yeah, it was not a game altering decision.
Right. So don't
So
try to compare the two like they're the same thing.
I say this in all sports. I agree with the NBA and NFL and any other sport. Those are the two main ones I watch. Is that I don't think refs are held accountable for anything. And it's, I'm not trying to say like they need to be fined for stuff because I mean, they might be scared to make calls, but I just feel like there's got to be some sort of something that could be done. I mean, make these guys full time. I mean, you've got to the game refereeing has been bad for a long time. And in this sort of day and age where there's cameras basically on the football while the game is happening and you miss some of these calls, take your time and get the call right. It's bad, man. There's bad calls everywhere right now. And it's unfortunate and there's no repercussions.
You know what I think might be the only way to really fix this is when you're under 2 minutes, make everything reviewable and make it go upstairs to the booth reviews, not challenges, but booth reviews. And on any call that's close, even if it's something that's not normally challengeable,
do what you can to get the call right. I mean,
I agree, but I'm saying they're never going to get the call right. So maybe just expand what you can review when you're in these clutch situations like that.
Or you could read the rule book and then make a good decision.
They can't read.
Anyways, yeah, I don't want to come across as bitter. I know I probably am, but I had to get that out there. There's good and bad calls in every game on both sides, but those two really cost us there at the end. That was tough to see. I do want to give a positive spin here. I know a lot of people were really down on Baker Mayfield in the first half. Baker Mayfield in the second half was pretty damn good. And I'm excited to see what he can do. I know Browns fans, believe me, I got lectured all weekend from Browns fans at the bars talking about this, that, and the third, about why Baker sucks, why he's this, why he's that. I'm like, oh my God, just go away. Let me alone.
Right.
But that second half, man, he really turned it on. And that was the first deep ball that I have seen in forever that really got me excited. His decision-making was quick. I really think the first half had a lot to do with not getting reps, not getting practicing, probably pretty worked up about playing his former team and wanted to F him up. And he was fired up. But the thing I like the most is that, and again, I heard this comment from the C3 podcast I was listening to. If you put Sam Darnold in that situation, dude is going to sit on the bench and he ain't making a comeback. Baker said, you know what? We played like crap the first half. It's okay. No problem. Comes out in the second half, looks really sharp, really good, and almost brings us back for the game. I was very impressed by his second half performance. Hopefully we can see more of that.
Yeah, I definitely felt like I got the Baker Mayfield experience that I've heard so much about over the past few weeks. But I mean, it was nice to see a quarterback with some resiliency, man. It's almost like watching Jake Delhomme out there. As bad as he was in the first half, as ugly as things were, he kind of said, all right, you know what? Let's go. Forget this. Let's do something. And he went out there and he started making some stuff happen. So
yeah,
just that alone is enough to get me excited about Baker Mayfield, which going into this, we knew that's kind of what Baker Mayfield was. And that's why you get excited about Baker Mayfield because, even if he's bad, he's that guy, he'll
not every game is going to be perfect.
Count him out.
If you can come through in the end and win the game, it's a W. And they came that close to doing it. So, enough about that. Panthers, Browns, as bad as the Panthers played, they had some good things. They could have came away with the victory, just came up a little bit short. So the Panthers are 0-1, and we're going to play the New York Giants this week. I did catch the second half of that Giants game. Giants, they look solid. Brian Dayball, I hope I'm saying his Dayball, his last name correctly, gets the W, his first head coaching game. And, their defense looked solid. Their running game looks good. Daniel Jones, I'm still not sold on him at all. I don't think they are either. But the Giants are 1-0. We're playing them at home. This is Panthers are 0-1. They got to win this game, man. They got to win this game.
Yeah, man, it feels like they got to win this game, but it's like if they struggled so much with the last game, there's no reason to feel good about this game because it's a lot of the same problems that they had in the last game, they're having this game. So I think you can make the argument that the Giants have better wide receivers. Their quarterbacks, iffy, just like Jacoby Brissett, but we know they have a great, strong, powerful back there who's going to be able to break tackles. They're probably not going to move bodies the same way the Browns did. Their offensive line's probably not as good, but other than that, I mean, a lot of the matchups are going to be pretty similar. So that kind of worries me on defense. The defensive backs are going to have to step up in a way that they did not against Cleveland.
Correct. I think that, Giants, they're going to give you the same look the Browns just did. They're going to run the football and they're going to try to play good defense. And if you're the Panthers, you've got a couple days to get ready for a matchup that was pretty similar. You should know what to expect. I think this is going to be another close game that's going to come down to the end. It's tough to say because I'm not going to say the Giants are, back because they won one game, but they look solid from what I saw. They've got a new regime in there. They're probably fired up, but I think it's going to be a really close game. I hope the Panthers pull it out. They need to. 0-2, it ain't looking good. But, I mean, they're going to get a similar look they just did against the Browns.
Yeah, I mean, kind of looked at it. I mean, trying to look at some of this roster. I mean, receivers, I mean, looks like a better group. I was trying to get a look at some of the names, but yeah, Sterling Sharp, Darius Slayton, Kadarius Toney. Those are all guys who can make plays. So I was trying to look at the defense. I know they have Kayvon Thibodeau coming off the edge, so that'll be another test for Ikem Ekwonu for sure. Leonard Williams, yep. I don't know. We'll see. We'll see what happens. For our defense, seems like it's going to be a pretty similar game. On offense, I don't know. There's a lot of names on the Giants defense I recognize, but not all too familiar with what they got going on over there, if I'm being honest. But it really doesn't matter if we don't come out with a better game plan than we did this week.
It's funny because as the older I get and the more football I watch, the more I start to understand about X's and O's, as opposed to, whenever you're a kid and you're just like, oh, this team's good, this team's bad, they should win, right? Well, this comes down to coaching, man. You have got to come up with a good game plan to put these guys in a position to win. And for me, Panthers, they got to ride McCaffrey, and Baker, he's got to have a good game. And I think they both will. It's going to come down to the run defense. Can they stop? Can the defense make some plays? You're telling me against Jacoby Brissett, we couldn't get one turnover? Not one? No forced fumble, no interception, nothing. You got to come in there and force some turnovers. Especially got a guy like Daniel Jones, who is prone to make mistakes. You have got to come away. If you're not going to stop the run, you better come with some turnovers. They've got to do one of the two.
Yeah. Like I said, I'm looking at the defensive backs. We need some turnovers. You guys did not come to play in the first game against a team you really should have had the upper hand against. Like I said, with a backup quarterback. So this week, in my opinion, you're getting a better group of receivers that you're going to have to match up against. So it's time to step up and make some plays. Then you got Saquon Barkley running right at you right behind him. So it's not getting any easier in the run game.
No, not at all. So Panthers have got to get this. They got to get the job done because they start 0-2. It's not looking good. And the Browns game was one of those games that you looked at as, a good possibility of a W. So you got to make this one happen because that 3-game stretch at home is going to be tough. The Cardinals did just get absolutely destroyed, but they did play the Chiefs. Chiefs are a really good team. I know the Rams didn't look that good open tonight. I expect them to certainly turn it around. I don't think they're going to be that bad. And then you've got we got the Seahawks as well, or is that I can't remember the exact schedule. If click on Ellis's tweet real quick, it'll tell you who we got. Okay, so we got the Saints, we got Arizona, we got San Francisco, and then we got LA. Okay. So the 49ers didn't look super great. I know Elijah Mitchell got hurt. We'll see what happens with Trey Lance. I know the weather was pretty bad there. And then the Saints, it's a divisional game. It's tough. The Saints came out with a victory against the Falcons. They really had to get out there at the end. So this first half, man, it starts this Sunday. The Panthers have to win this football game, and I think Baker Mayfield's going to get on a roll here, and they need it. They need this guy to lead that team like he did in the second half, and that defense just got to play better.
Yeah, I think the offense is going to settle in here and start putting together some more drives and scoring some more points for sure. I think Baker's going to put it together. I think the offensive line is going to settle in. They're really just starting to play together, so it takes some time for them to learn to gel together and communicate. So I'm excited about the offense. I'll admit, I think this week was just a weird week. First game, like we said, haven't really played together much. Baker's against his old team. There's some nerves there. It's a real hot, sweaty day.
Oh yeah.
As much as I feel like the offense is going to figure it out, I'm a little worried about our defense, man. I really am. And I feel like people really didn't think too much of it over the offseason because we have so many, big name guys. But especially on that front seven, it's like after Brian Burns, it just doesn't feel like anyone's really there.
No, and I agree 100%.
And you know me, man, I've been not so high on Shaq Thompson for a while.
Correct.
And, he's supposed to be the leader of that unit, and I just don't see it, honestly.
They got to pull that unit together and try to get something. And and like you said, you look at that secondary, who was really supposed to be the best part of that unit. I wouldn't say they were the worst I've ever seen, but man, for some reason, JC Horn only playing like 4 games. People, I don't know if this is I'm not calling him a bad player or a bust. I'm not at all. I think he's a very good player. I think he's going to become an even better player. But, he really has been getting some hype for a guy who's only played a handful of games. I don't know if people's expectations, because he was a top 10 pick, it's guy's a shutdown corner, nothing's going to happen. I don't know. I think maybe people got a little too excited too early for just a small sample size, but I want to see more from him. And I know it's only been 1 game since he's been back, but I think he's got that dog in him. I need to see it.
Yeah, I'm definitely guilty of that. If there's one guy I drink the Kool-Aid on, it's JC Horn. So, but I do expect him to bounce back, like you're saying. He really hasn't played in almost a whole year. In the 3 games he played last year, he looked really good.
Correct.
This year, I'd be shocked if he doesn't have a nice, strong bounce back year here. I think he's a very good player, and I think he's very capable. I think pretty soon he's gonna cement himself as one of the better corners in the league. So I'm gonna chalk this one up as a bad game. Hopefully, it doesn't keep going that way, keep trending in that direction. But we'll see what happens.
So predictions for this upcoming game. I think it's going to be another close one. It's funny how close we were in our scores. I think for my game last week, I said 23-20, and it being 24-26. It's close. I'm going to go with something very similar to that. I'm going to say I'm going to say 27-23 Carolina. I think the Panthers defense is going to be a little bit better. I think our offense is really going to find their groove, but I think it's going to be another close game. I don't have a ton of faith in our defense from what they showed, and I don't have a ton of faith in our coaching staff to make adequate changes to, really make me confident in this game. I think the Panthers are just a little bit of a better team talent-wise, but if they lose, I would not be surprised at the same time. But I think, all things considered, Panthers need to win this game, and they know that. And I'm just going to give them the slight edge here.
I want to say they're going to win so bad, but I just don't know that.
I know it's hard.
What did you say?
I think I said 27-23 Panthers.
I'll give them 24-20 Panthers. Why not?
Okay.
Why not say they're going to win?
We better win.
We better win because if not, it's going to be an ugly week in Charlotte.
It's going to be an ugly week. But hey, we gotta keep the faith here. It's early in the season. Got a lot of things to go. Got to trust in our offense because they're going to be the best part of our team all season. And let's hope Baker and them, get it figured out. I like what I saw in the second half. I think we're going to see more of that. And offensive line is going to get better. I think, a lot. I don't know why they didn't give Ekwonu more help, because he's a rookie, and I understand he's got to learn, he's got to take his lumps, but you're putting him for the game that's on the line. I mean, shove the guy. He had given up 2 sacks in a row. Like, you got to help the guy out. He's going against arguably the best DN in football. He's a rookie. I don't care who you are as a prospect. It's going to be tough to play like left tackle your first game starting against one of the best DNs in the NFL.
Yeah, man. It's like getting drafted by the Pistons and your first game is against LeBron. You know what I mean? And it's like, I don't know. I literally don't have words for it, Tanner, because I cannot fathom how you could go into this game without any type of ideas to help your rookie left tackle against Myles Garrett. I mean, I don't have any words. Like, I cannot understand it.
Well, I'll tell you what, we went into Super Bowl 50 without a plan for Von Miller, so.
Yeah.
Some things never change.
I mean, it's like it's like a curse that follows us everywhere we go. I don't know. I mean, it's his first game. He's going to be fine, I think, eventually, but we knew there were going to be growing pains. Correct. I really honestly don't even blame him at all. I feel like he did the best he could. I mean,
other than, he gave up the 2 sacks. Other than that, he was fine. It just was that combination of 2 plays in a row. And
I only blame the coaches because I don't understand why. And I don't think he even really had help the whole game.
No, not really. I mean, they passed the ball a lot. I mean, Ian Thomas had the biggest play of his career.
Yeah.
And he had 2 big plays. He had that long play down the seams. And then he also had that good little first down. It was like 3rd and short, and they did like an out route to Ian Thomas. I was like, what is this? And he made it work.
Yeah. Well, as funny as he bobbled that long one down the seam.
Did he really?
Yeah, he wanted to drop it so hard, which would have been really bad because he's had some issues with that here lately. I don't know. Man. Anyway, it's time to move on to week number 2.
On to week 2, I've got all out I can get, all the bad juju. It was I had a good weekend though. I was up in Charlotte all weekend. Had a good time with the friends. The Panthers came out and losing, and it was still a good time. It's good to be in Charlotte, and I'm sure
I will be back too.
There. It was a very good game.
It was very fun to be there for such a good game.
Yeah, absolutely. It's funny because all week they were predicting like massive rain. It ends up being like extremely hot.
Yep. Maybe clouds for like 15 or 20 minutes during the whole game.
Maybe.
Other than
Maybe.
that, just baking in the sun.
What did you think about the white and black, like painted fields and stuff?
Oh yeah, I thought it was cool. It was kind of weird though.
I know that they did that because they had a soccer game the day before, and some about the rain. They had to like paint it and kind of like leave it. I don't
Oh
know.
really?
That's what I read. That the field might look a little different than normal,
I
but
mean, it looked
I was
cool.
okay with it because they did like the all white uniforms,
It would
but
have
and
been
they did the white.
cooler if the end zones were black like they should be.
Yeah, well, that is true, but it's also hot. But I don't know. It's the end zone. Like you're not there the whole game.
Yeah, nah, that's all right.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't know. I thought it was okay. The white and black, and then they kind of had they had the white socks on too, so it kind of matched. I don't know. I thought it was fine.
Yeah, I thought it looked cool.
Yeah, that is our post game show and our preview for this week. There's a good chance we're going to be doing a show with these guys who did a preseason show with the Shakedown. They're big Giants fans over there. They're good dudes. So we'll probably hop on there, either me and Dave or just one of us, and do a little pregame show with them as well. And I know they're going to be fired up. Giants for 1-0.
Yeah, they're gonna be fired up, and they're also gonna be able to extend their bragging rights because Ben McAdoo did not have a good game as an offensive coordinator.
He had a good second half. Will you give him that?
Yeah, I mean, I guess I give him that. There's some good play calls down the stretch, but I was still very confused by basically every play call in the first quarter.
It's weird because
It was
people were saying like, "Oh, Baker keeps getting the ball batted down. He's short," and I was like, "Okay," but God knows I'm the biggest Cam Newton fan on earth. I feel like that happened to Cam Newton quite frequently. He's like 6'5". I feel like it's just a thing with the Panthers. The ball's always getting batted down.
well, I think that's pretty common for Baker Mayfield for the ball to get batted down. But I also think if there's one team who knows how to time it, it's going to be the Browns. So, I mean, I feel like they
True.
probably understood his tendencies and what he likes to do and how he likes to wind the ball up and every little nuance to his game that would give away that he's about to throw the ball. If anyone's going to know it, it's going to be the Browns. So I think that had a lot to do with it, or a combination of both of those things had a lot to do with it. The fact that it happens to him a lot and the Browns know him well. So,
Very true.
Very leads
true.
you to 6 times or whatever it was that the ball gets batted down. It was crazy. I never seen the ball get batted that many times in one game.
I can't believe none of those resulted in an interception.
Well, between those and the freaking fumbles on the snaps, I don't know.
They got lucky. They got really lucky.
I don't know how in the world there weren't turnovers galore in those situations.
Yeah, I mean, it could have been like really bad, but luckily it wasn't. So that is all for tonight. Thank you guys for tuning in to Primetime Carolina. Follow us, subscribe to us, whatever you want to do. We appreciate it. We're back talking Panthers L's, man. That's what we do best. I don't know what it feels like to talk about a win, but hopefully we do next week.
I'm in my element, man. Just questioning everything the Panthers do for 60 minutes. So it feels right.
Pretty much. Welcome back to Sunday. So
welcome.
Thank you guys for tuning in. We will see you guys after the game next Sunday against the Giants. Win or lose, we will be here. Thank you. We'll see you next week.
Peace out, guys.